this is my 77 F250. It's got the 351 M400 engine in it. I'm not sure which it is that's actually in the truck right now. I put a used engine in there that already had the 4-barrel. I think it has a cam, not sure. Originally, I bought it with an Ed Brock carburetor. That carburetor had a loose throttle shaft, so there's just no way I could tune that. I've gone to a Holley 670 that I bought here locally at a speed shop. I also bought a fuel log to hook up the fuel lines, and I went to go, I had already started in on my fuel delivery system yesterday. Come to find out that fuel log isn't going to work for me. The fittings just don't screw into the carburetor. So my plan is to hook up on an electric fuel pump underneath, then run 3/8 fuel line all the way to the front. And I'm going to run a return system on it too, just to keep the fuel cool, prevent any vapor lock situations. I haven't really had that much of a problem with that. I'm basing my setup on Thunderhead 289, his YouTube channel. He's got an excellent video on the setup for this, and that's what I'm going to be following. I've already done some of the interior on this truck. The seat was trash, especially on the driver's side where they're always trash right there. Made it a hot rod by putting the footsie pedal in it, and I changed over to B&M shifter on the floor. Just some of the modifications I've done to this truck. So that's it. I'm gonna this morning I have another project I got to get to, so I'm gonna make this thing drivable and pull it off the hoist here, and then I'll get to doing video on the installation of the fuel pump and regulator and that kind of thing. Good morning, boys and girls. Today we're gonna start mounting up stuff for the fuel pump install. Fuel pump I'm using is a Carter unit. There's the box, that's just some generic picture. I'll get the part number up here. There's a part number for you. I'm just following a list of parts that Thunderhead 289 used on his build. I kind of started in on it last night, and I'm glad I'm doing this right now. I've taken part of the old fuel line out. It was routed up in here, and as you can guess, with a 1977 truck, it was rusty and crusty, and as I was taking some of it out, the line actually broke. See if it'll phone focus. Kind of, sort of. Anyway, it broke right there, so you can see it's kind of thin. And that was about to give me a big problem. So I'm glad I'm doing this. So I'm gonna do some things like mount the pump and so on. I'm gonna put a fuel filter in front of, or in before the pump, and get things mounted up, and then eventually start hanging or connecting things as far as the fuel line, and then the electrical. So here we go. Okay, this is where I decided to mount the fuel pump on my truck. It's right on the frame rail, and then I'm running new fuel lines from the back to the front, and then right just before the pump, I have a fuel filter that I'm going to put in, just an inline filter to protect the pump. I'm going to need a bracket to mount that and some rubber lines, so I'm going to get some lunch anyway, so I'll get those things and then continue on the way. There's an outlet here, and then the original line starts back here. I'll probably end up taking that out and may hook it up just a temporary thing so the vehicle is drivable. We'll see how that goes. So that's where I'm at so far. Okay, this is progress so far. Pump is kind of sort of mounted. Line run all the way to the front. Too many distractions along the lines. There's a fuel line right there running up against the proportioning valve. But what I was running up against was wires that, let's see if I can get that refocus. Give it a second. Anyway, wires like these are burnt, and there was others. There was another bunch of wires in here that was burnt, apparently laying on the exhaust or something like that. And then they're just routed weird. Things have been apart. Of course, this is a 50-year-old truck. It's a farm truck, a good part of its life. So somebody that just kind of half-assed things together did their thing. And I'm undoing 50 years of garbage and trying to make things kind of neat and routing things properly. Like the Speedo cable, I took that and rerouted that a little bit nicer than it was. It was just kind of snaked here and there, what have you. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm going to start making that hard line more permanent. Mounting the fuel filter back here. No, I was going to put that in the front. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Okay, here we go. Here we are. You can see I got the lines hooked up to the tank, runs along the frame, got her anchored in a couple places back there. And up there, come into the fuel filter before the pump. Pump's grounded to the frame and hooked up to the main line that goes up to the front. Now to work up top. Okay, here we are. I'm working on the return line on this thing. It didn't look like I was going to be able to use the fuel pressure regulator that I had with a return. And I can't get a regular regulator here locally, so I sat about thinking about how to fix my problem. Originally, I had bought this adapter. I got it off Amazon, and it's actually for a 2-inch fill pipe. And you're supposed to cut the line, the fill line, fill tube, and put that in there. Well, it's for a 2-inch tube, and as you can see, this is much bigger. This is like 2.5, 3 inches. It's pretty huge for the fill on this thing. So, being that the Jeeper I have been, I decided to rig it up, as it were. And so I put that the original tubes in there and into the well, I thought I'd shoot a little video, show you where I'm at with this project. And after I shoot this, I'm going to post a thing. It's going to have to be like maybe a 2-parter. Next step after this is going to be wiring the fuel pump relay and what have you. So I have the fuel pressure regulator mounted on the fender well. I don't have a gauge on that. according to the instructions for the fuel pressure regulator, that's calibrated at 6.5 pounds. That's exactly what Holly calls for, so I should be good there. And then I just have a piece of rubber hose, fuel line hose, running from the regulator up to the carburetor for now. That's going to be temporary. And then this is fuel up to from the pump there, and then this one is fuel return. I have steel line that I don't have secured to the frame just yet for the return. Let me grab a light. Oh, there's the old truck. And there you go. Red wire is to the pump, as you can see, and then it's ground to the frame. Back there you can see I have the fuel filter before the pump. I'll probably have to put one before the carburetor too. And steel line from the pump, and the steel line below it that needs to be secured, that's the return. And I've got that run the length of the truck. So the truck starts and runs. You can see a little bit more about the lines I have run. And like I was saying, the truck starts and runs real good. And I just have to do some tidying up and wiring. And this is the return that I have for the fuel. Goes into the fuel filler hose and then shoots back down on the tank. I wanted to use steel line there, and I still may, just for safety's sake. But the line that I got was actually steel line, really hard to bend. And as you can see, I just have the power for the pump wired up, jumpered over here to the battery. When I want to start the truck, I just hook it up there. I'll hook in a relay, which like that one right there. I'm going to put it on the other side and hook everything properly. I should have the ignition hot over here. This is the original wiring over here for the ignition system, so I should have an ignition hot over there that I can use with the original wiring, and that'll work out nice. So there you go, guys, wiring up this F-250, actually plumbing the electric fuel pump, and I'll get to the wiring on the next video, straighten some things away, square it away. I'm just playing around with this at this point with this truck. Eventually I plan on building the 400 motor for it, and be a little bit more high performance after that. It's a crappy old looking truck, and I plan on keeping it that way, but going kind of high performance on the engine and what have you. So until next time, hey, remember, we're not promised tomorrow. Get out there, do something dumb like working on an old truck, and have some fun. Until next time, see ya.